Hello, this is Mike, Whiskey Charlie 0 Kilo, and in the studio with me today is Donna k0dja. And the title of our project is 40-foot Rowan 55G fold-over tower, winch replacement topic. Here's a little bit about our background. I'm a retired veteran. I spent 4 years in the regular Air Force and the rest of the time in the National Guard. Most of that was spent in the Air National Guard. My jobs were combat communications and antenna tower cable installation and maintenance. I had about a dozen years in the maintenance field there. Donna, she was in the Army National Guard for 4 years, so she qualifies as a veteran. And then that's where I met her. She is retired telecommunications plant manager. Most of her activity was throughout the central United States and up and down the Rocky Mountains, program managing the towers, the cell towers for telephone systems. She has a Bachelor of Science degree in math and physics. Here's just a quick timeline of the project. We received the tower, I think it was summer of 2016. It went into storage. We brought the tower out of storage, and as soon as our house was built, and there it sits in a snowbank. And then the following summer, we finally broke apart the tower sections off the skid. And just below the top right is the base. That 10-foot section is the base, and the first 5 foot out of the ground. So we'll call that the base section of the base tower. Lower left is a 12-foot 3-inch diameter. 12-foot 3-foot diameter sonotube, and the lower right picture is we just started to get the tube into the ground. And it was a little bit of an interesting project, but we got it all in, all 10 foot. The upper left, I want to point out the skid plate I made. And basically, all that served as a surface so that we could slide that tower around at the bottom of the hole easier. And a center top, 2x4, just centering that tower, make sure we had it reasonably centered. And top right, the levels, of course, they were to ensure that we were perpendicular to the ground. Lower left, my contractor, who actually one of two who built the house, just went out during break or whenever that was, I don't know, but he just worked the surface, the top there, the cement, and also put a 45-degree chamfer around it, which I really appreciated. To lower right are all the excavations for the ground rods. We have 3 ground rods coming off of each leg. They're reasonably spaced out so they don't influence each other. And we also ran a real heavy ground wire from that tower around the side of the house into the house mains. And here's Donna. She and I are putting together 30 feet of the tower in the garage. It's a little cool outside, so we decided to just put it together there in the garage. And eventually we drug it out to the driveway. Here we had a real difficult time getting that last 5 foot onto that tower. We had to borrow 2 come-alongs to force that last section in there. We ended up having to put a tiny bit of a chamfer on each male leg. After we finished that, of course, it went in really well. Now, that hammer was only used to tap in the bolts. We made sure that the holes were lined up. We had a centering pin, but if you purchase this tower, expect that there's going to be some press fit parts. All right, what do we have here? All right, so now of course, the tower is done. It's up, and it was really an easy project after working the Air Force towers that you saw in the pictures previously, which I really didn't point out. Those are the types of towers that I worked on in the Air Force and that log periodic. Well, so based on that experience, I just felt that it was going to be easy to construct this tower. I put up several 64-foot Rowan freestanding towers, but this was my first fold over. And in the picture, we have some of the crew members that helped during the whole entire project. And yes, we are not wearing hard hats. I guess I'm the only one out there, but I'm not in the picture. The fellow that's doing the cranking right now in the gray shirt, that's my brother, and the reason I want to point this out is he is a stage 4 cancer survivor, been cancer-free now for 13 years, and that's courtesy of the Veterans Administration, the VA hospital, for the entire surgical procedures. And he owes his survival to attitude, and he was always trying to cheer up, actually, the nurses, other patients, and the doctors. So there's a lot to say about having the right attitude and prayer. But also what I want to point out about this tower here is we crank that until that base is about 2 feet from the base of the tower, the end of the upper portion there that's at an angle. That hand crank will be turned, and there'll be a point that you cannot crank that anymore. It's not going to go right directly to the tower base. And it's very easy for 1 or 2 people to just grab that tower and pull it back in. I've done it myself, but in this case, 2 of the guys did it. The one time I did it, I didn't have an antenna on it either. I was putting up dipoles. A couple points I want to point out here. Just go out through the bullets here real quick. Red simulates the raised tower. Stop rotating when tower is about 2 feet from base. And the reason I'm emphasizing this is that if we use an electric winch, there will be some overrun or coast or whatever you want to call it. But that motor will keep turning when you take your foot off the button. Yeah, your thumb off the button and the power button. So be aware of that. That's a big concern here. 2 assistants move tower into place and insert the 4 locking bolts. Notice the distance between the tower and the base, that arrow at below there. It is critical to stop the mechanical or electrical winch about 2 feet before it comes in contact with vertical base. We do not want to overstress winch, cable, or any part of the tower. And what I'm showing here is once that tower is in that vertical position, there are 4 bolts that we drop through that angle plate and the tower base. Speaking of the tower base, that would be item number 4. So look for item number 4 in the drawing. And also and notice the 1/8 inch gap between that number 4 and number 8, which is the angle iron. So that gap, the reason I'm pointing that out is because the 3/4 inch diameter shaft at the top of the base tower, that which is 55G solid steel tower legs, that shaft up there is the only thing that's really holding that tower in the vertical axis, let's say, up and down. Well, also I want to point out number 8 on my photograph there in the upper right. You see where I have it above? Well, the reason I have it above is because those U-bolts cannot and should not go around that tower base. So that is a real problem right there, and I did take a picture of that and send it off to Tim Rowan for approval that was okay to put that angle iron up there. But if you were to purchase this tower, just be aware, I don't know if they've changed the drawing or anything, but just be aware that that's where you have to put the plate. All right, enough of that. The second problem I ran into, and this one, I consider this one real serious here, is the oversized weld. Look in the upper top right picture, you see an arrow, and I have pointed to weld. Well, when we put this tower in that cradle, the top tower piece, that was horizontal. It was easier to handle that way with a crane, our crane anyway. And we could see, we could see immediately that was not going to fit. Brought the tower back down, looked at it, tapped on it, made sure it wasn't slag. It wasn't. So we took a grinder and just barely touched the welds on both sides, just enough to get it down. You'd have to see how those 2 pieces are welded together to really realize that did not affect the integrity of that weld or the strength of it. So once we took off a little bit, put it back up and dropped it right in, and everything was fine. Now you see that 3/4 inch diameter rod? That's the whole thing right there. That is what's supporting that tower, the downward force. So yeah, I think I covered everything in the slide. let's just walk around so that the folks at Dave at Goodwinch could see exactly what the mechanical winch looks like, and what it would take to build a back plate to attach directly to the tower, the existing angle irons there, and also attached to the winch. Looks like it's going to be a pretty easy process. There we go. However, there is a problem. The way the bars are across that winch, it certainly is okay for the pulling of vehicles, or if you want to use it for a tower, if the cable comes straight up out of the winch from the winch drum, not a problem. But if you look on the left, you'll see my tower. The base of that tower, up in the left-hand corner, has got to travel through that arc. Those red lines represent the locations along that arc. And I guarantee you that those cables would run into that crossbar on top of the winch. So therefore, we have to come up with a fixture, let's say, to avoid that. And here's what I come up with. On the tower leg, we would mount a plate, steel plate, perhaps 3/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. I haven't really decided yet. Haven't worked out all the numbers for strength and so forth, but that's to come. And on that red plate would be two bearing blocks spaced some inches apart. I just put 12, but some inches apart, whatever made sense. And through the center would be a 3/4 inch diameter steel rod to hold the idler pulley. So the theory of operation here is that the cable would come up out of that winch, around that pulley, and up to the top left there of the tower section. And now as that winch is running, it will pull the end of the tower around that arc, and the cable will never come in contact with anything to cause damage. So very quickly, the process will be here: remove the hand winch, add the Goodwinch, and add the idler pulley. Now in the upper left hand, I said idler pulley plate mounted front side of legs. I thought maybe there might be a chance that I could mount that on the inside, but I was just out to the tower and I noticed that it is not possible. So it'll go on that outside. So that means that I would have probably two sets of U-bolts on top and two sets on bottom on both legs, and they will be, I'll just purchase some extra ones from Rowan. I want them to be very, very high strength. I don't want pot metal from wherever. Okay, well, here are your station operators, and that's Donna. She's in the left shot there. She's operating a digital mode using the Flex 6700 and Alpha, Auto-Tune Alpha. And I kind of snuck up on her there, so I got the look. And on the right side, she's operating, probably using the Kenwood. We have a 990 and the SPE2K FA amp. Station is in constant change. We're always moving things around, racks around wheels, so that's it's easy to change around. It's me in the lower left. If you want to send me an email, k0dja.com. You can find my email address there. And of course, Belle Kitty, she's the station manager. She can go wherever she wants to, but we don't really care to have her set on the keyboard when we're trying to type. That's not a good thing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the details I've given will be of help. This is a draft run of this video. It's going to be updated, but I wanted to get this much done and get it out to a few people so that you can see what's going on here. I know that we'll make some changes. You'll have some recommendations, and then I'll redo the video and also edit the audio. I'll have a separate audio recorder that I can actually go in and easily edit the ahs and the so's and whatever else I'm doing here today. That's nauseating. All right, 7-3. Hope you enjoyed it.